After what has been an amazing season, the Blancpain Endurance Series comes to the Nurburgring for the final race of the season, and what a race it promises to be. The 1,000 kilometres about to get underway with championships up for grabs. Last time out, it was 24 hours of action at Spa-Francorchamps. The race got underway under sunny skies, and thankfully everybody made it through the first corner this time. There was early drama though, Ferrari spinning in the pack, punctured tyres for those lower down the order, and Bentley number 8 already in trouble with the underside of the car. On track, there was a good lead battle developing between Audi and BMW, but the Pro-Am Nissan was punted into an early spin as the first safety car was brought out after a huge accident for the Ferrari from the Russian SMP racing team at the top of the hill. Cars scattered through the debris. The second incident of the race involved Tim Mullen. The third was Karim Auger, who crashed the McLaren at the top of Radion. It was a scary moment, and the safety car deployed once again. And behind it came one of the significant stories of the race, as Jürgen Müller's Mark VDS Racing BMW went into the back of slower cars. It did lots of damage, he had to pit, and it cost the team a chance of a win. Next drama, Andrew Danilov spun the Ferrari, was hit by Andrew Howard's Aston Martin, engulfed in flame. The car was out of the race, but then others piled into the wreckage. We then had another incident involving 2 Ferraris out on track, and the race had to be stopped for over an hour. The WRT team took one of its cars into the pit lane in order to effect repairs. That was acceptable under the regulations, and when the race restarted, more work could be done. However, the trade-off for doing the work under the red flag was a drive-through penalty. That was taken behind the safety car, so another one had to be made under pure green flag conditions. As the cars drove into the night, it was set to be another battle between BMW and Audi. The fans started to drift away from the action to the funfair, to the music and to the food. But as the weary strugglers battled on through the night, come Sunday morning, it was Audi versus BMW. Mark VDS was effectively down to just one car. The Belgian WRT Audi, headed by René Rast, worked its way through into the lead. It then developed into a battle of pit stops. Lucas Luhr looked on as the number 1 Audi gave away its lead and had to go into its pit box for a disc and pad change. Out on track, Nissan number 80 punted into an early spin, lost a tyre. Whoever pitted lost the lead to the opposing car. And with one last roll of the dice, 77 BMW elected to stay out on a worn set of tyres. It kept the car in the lead, but there was no way that it could preserve the advantage to the end of the final stint. Indeed, the number 1 Audi pounced on the run down towards La Source. It went one way, it went the other, but on fresher rubber, the grip was there, and Audi number 1 surged its way through into the lead to the delight of the home team. At the checkered flag, it was victory. Audi had once more conquered BMW in the real showpiece event, and for a Belgian team to be victorious, it was a very special moment as Marcus Winkelhock, René Rast and Laurens Vanthoor celebrated on the top step of the podium. It's not just about a race this weekend, 1,000 kilometres in prospect, but it's also about the championship, and Laurens Vanthoor is the man in the box seat in the Pro Cup.
Of course, we're here to win a championship. Victory in Spa did a lot in the point standings. So everything has to go smoothly from my side, but I also need the help from my team colleagues and the team. I think the main rival will be the Central Audi, who are in second position. It will be an interesting battle, I think, so it will be interesting to see how it ends.
But tough opposition is going to come from the Santalot Racing Audi. Greg Gilvert, along with Edward Sandstrom and Stefan Ortelli, the opposition. Stefan has won this title once before.
We are doing a very strong year so far. We can get one position better, we can also drop down. I think we deserve to stay at least on the podium and fight for it. Being a third-time champion would be nice, but for me it's more important that we do something as good as we are doing now. For WRT Audi and Santalot Audi, it's important. We will go for it for sure.
But after wins at Silverstone and again at Paul Ricard, Bentley, in its first season with the Continental GT3, is on for potentially a dream result. Stephen Kane could be a man taking Bentley to a maiden championship success.
To be in this position in our first year with the Bentley Continental GT3 is just fantastic. You know, it's a great achievement. I'm really happy to be still in the fight. All we can do is do our best. We're all enjoying it, where there's no pressure on us. It's ours to win and theirs to lose. So, you know, we're just going to go out and do what we do every weekend and see where we end up.
There's been a bit of a shuffle around amongst the Pro-Am drivers, with Francesco Castellacci switching teams for this final round of the championship. He goes into it equal on points with his previous co-drivers and hence could still win it.
For me it's very strange. I mean, one way I would have preferred, of course, to finish the season with my teammates, but unfortunately these are the regulations and I need to race in this way. We try to finish the race first of all and to be in front of the Ferrari of Villorba and the BMW, but mainly the most important that a Ferrari wins the Pro-Am Cup.
The opposition, though, comes from Andrea Rizzoli and Stefano Gai. They remain aboard the number 90 Ferrari. It's going to be a tough battle between the two Ferrari squads.
I hope that can win the championship because it's our first time for the team, Scuderia Villorba, first time for me, for Andrea Rizzoli. The race is very long because it's 6 hours and maybe all can happen. It can be very special win this championship also for the Ferrari that we can do.
The outsiders, though, the Acuriacos Barwell Motorsport run BMW team. This is a car that had a great result in the total 24 hours of Spa, and Andrew Smith is eager to get racing here.
Our goal is a championship podium. We're obviously we're lying second in the standings at the moment, only 12 points off the lead. We'll certainly be trying everything we can to get the win, but the Ferraris are quick round here and they've got a top driver line-up, so it's going to be tough. If we could win the Pro-Am championship, it would just be phenomenal.
And the Gentleman Trophy fight is going to be decided as well. Perhaps inevitably, it's a Ferrari battle. The car driven by Peter Mann is that leads the championship heading into the final round.
As the song says, you dream the impossible dream. It would be an absolute dream, especially at this stage in life. But all in all, no matter what happens, it's been a wonderful year. We've been on the podium at every race. We won the big one. So we'll see where we are at the end of the race. We've got to get to the end of the 6 hours.
The points that Peter Mann and his co-drivers scored at Spa have really helped them in the title fight up against the car of Pierre Eret, Frank Schmickler and Alexander Matschel.
I would say it will be really difficult. We try to win the race, but I think that's all what we can do. And then we maybe need some help. Spa was really frustrating for us because we didn't get any points. We were out of the race after 3 hours, so it was really disappointing. And okay, so the season must go on, and we are here to win the race, and let's see what's going on.
The Nurburgring today is a rather different place from that we enjoyed for the bulk of yesterday. We had some dry running in qualifying, we had a lot of wet running, but today we've had heavy rain, we've had really thick fog this morning, and the race is going to start behind the safety car because there has been concern about standing water. One race this morning was cancelled, one eventually did get going after a 20-minute run behind the safety car, and so for this, hopefully, 6-hour race, it'll be 6 hours or 1,000 kilometres depending on which comes first. The race will start behind the safety car but in far from ideal conditions. There's not much humidity, track temperature 34.9 degrees, it's still pretty cold outside, it's still raining as well, and the team's going into this race thinking about a race result, a championship result, but also about how they're going to treat the circuit in these treacherous conditions. For the teams, there's very little they can do to affect the outcome other than do good pit stops. So much of it now is down to the driver, certainly for the first racing laps, when we get there, John, to just keep out of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, behind the safety car, we'll get the field pretty much spread out. So the first car behind the safety car is going to be Laurens van Thor. In fact, in this case, it'll be Christopher Mies. Laurens van Thor did the third qualifying segment yesterday in conditions almost as bad, and he was a beneficiary of being first car on track and therefore had the opportunity to get the clearest laps in a wet session. Those times didn't count for pole position. So it is Christopher Mies going to start this race. And then everybody behind, well, it's a 6-hour race, whether we run 6 hours or 1,000 kilometres, or if in the worst circumstances the race has got to be stopped at 3/4 distance, then it is about patience and just keeping your head and not trying to win. And we keep saying it race upon race, don't get the race, try to win it on the first corner of the first lap.
So the cars leave the line, the race has now started. As I say, when the safety car leaves, the clock starts to count down. So this is the final round of the Blancpain Endurance Series underway. It starts behind the safety car, so all of these laps count, and only when the safety car peels in will we go to full green flag conditions, but the race is underway. And so, as the cars work their way into turn 17, finally we can go racing at the Nurburgring, because the race director has given the drivers enough chance to work out exactly how nasty the track conditions are. And Christopher Mies leads the way as at the end of lap 7 we go racing in the iRacing.com Blancpain 1000 over the timing line. Drivers dart out of the slipstream, out of the spray, to try and find some visibility. And are we going to find people slithering off the road down at the first corner? This is the view from the Bentley of Guy Smith, and it's not a pretty sight.
No, it's very difficult, and Guy Smith was starting on the third row of the grid, second row of the grid, the car, and it is just, you just got to be patient. Already one car is still just at the exit of turn 1, running very wide. Pretty much everybody, though, fortunately, as a consequence of this safety car start, has so spread out that the spray issue nowhere near as bad, and the Bentley's being turned around. I mean, what's that all about?
It gets clipped by the 44 Aston, so Michael Caine has got damage as well. Antoine Leclerc turned around, and there's debris on the road as well. He's waiting for a gap in the traffic. At least the lights work now as he fires it up. And so can he get going again? Well, for the moment the car is stranded. Let's hope we don't get the safety car deployed once more. But the other question is, what did that do to the Oman racing team Aston Martin? Has that got damage, serious damage as well, I wonder?
Well, that certainly was the instigator. Michael Caine did not need to make contact with the Bentley. The Bentley was ahead, and in the opening lap effectively of the race, aside from the safety car period, that was an unnecessary contact. He may well find himself having a penalty as a consequence.
On top of, as you say, any damage as the cars fishtail their way uphill for the first time. Kevin Est in number 99 McLaren is charging, and that is one of the championship protagonists off the road and with broken suspension. Edward Sandstrom is in the wall on the first racing lap. Look at the right rear corner, suspension is broken. The accident involving Bentley number 8 is under investigation, but this is the end of the championship dream already, seemingly.
Started on the 10th row of the grid, and I don't know whether that was an assist or whether that was, there's again the Aston Martin, and there's that, the Aston Michael Caine, and it's off the track as well, and that may well be a tyre that was cut down as a consequence. There's a medical car being activated. We don't know whether there's an issue or not, but certainly the Aston is having to pay the penalty of contact with the Bentley, and on top of which he may well also suffer a further penalty.
Alvaro Perez has just come into the pit lane as well. He's another driver, along with Gregoire de Moustier, 49 points apiece, who mathematically could win the Pro Cup. Well, they won't win it now, because at the end of lap 8, into the pit lane has come number 98, and into the gravel goes 51 Ferrari. That is Felipe Barreros, and that's the car he shares, remember, with Peter Mann. That's the Gentleman Trophy Championship leading car in the gravel.
Well, they will be able to get it out. The Snatch Squad will go and draw that car back out. As we look at Alvaro Perez's car, going to be pushed into the garage. They've refueled, or not refueled, but they've done the work on the car. Now it's going in to the garage, and there, I mean, oh dear me, speechless, absolutely. 2 championship winning cars out in the opening 2 laps of the race underway.
We're getting news from Jack in the pit lane that the reason that 98 has come in is it's got pretty badly damaged suspension, and it's not looking good for number 98, the McLaren you've just been looking at.
I wonder, I mean, it's only sort of speculation. Was there any contact between Edward Sandstrom and Alvaro Perez? I mean, there's no logical reason why Sandstrom would make an error. No. It's not really his thing.
It's perfectly feasible because they were close together on the grid and therefore in the race order on that proper start. Yeah, it's a good thought.
There's a pass coming again. Estra all over the back. I mean, being aggressive like that, and he's been aggressive in this run up to the back of the Audi. That was over-aggression. Needs to just think about it. Another chance is going to come now on the run up to the S's.
So Christopher Mies then heads towards the end of the lap. There's an argument to suggest he could let Est go rather than get involved in anything that might take both cars off the road, but the other side of that argument is he wants to make sure he defends and hangs on to the lead. So Christopher Mies versus Kevin Est as they work their way up towards turn 17. Est quicker than Mies by half a second in sector 1, quicker by a tenth in sector 2, and now has another look up the inside coming out of turn 17, the Coca-Cola curve, but he can't do it. The Audi has good traction out of the corner onto the pit straight. Est sits in the spray,
but he's got the best shot he's had so far to try and make a pass down the inside and trying to again the cover, but Kevin, now that's a little bit naughty because in these circumstances, these conditions, and now Kevin Estra's got the inside line. Laurens van Voor has run slightly wide. Can Estra get the nose of the McLaren in front? Yes, but unnecessarily aggressive in my view in these conditions to try and defend the lead, and unnecessarily so. Kevin Estra's not in the battle for the championship.
Exactly.
Why bother?
So Christopher Mies eventually drops back behind him, and in the ART Grand Prix garage, Andy Soucek looks at the data, looks at the screens, looks a bit pensive as well. So now Christopher Mies falls away slightly from the new race leader. Kevin Est it is, and the McLaren up front. What we don't yet know, as you see the work going on for the Santalok Audi, is when they're going to put Laurens Vanthoor into that car. Will they leave him towards the end or do the next stint? But Sandstrom losing laps here, and so although it's worth going out because anything could befall Audi number 1, realistically now their chances depend on the misfortune of others. Stefano Ortelli is not, I'm sure, a happy man, but he is with Jack Nicholls.
Stefan, a horrible start to the race. Do you know what happened?
It's difficult with these conditions. They were in contact with Alvaro Parente and Eddie, and just bad luck. I mean, it's a race incident. There is nothing we can say. It will not change anything now. We have to repair the car. We have to fix the rear right, come back into the match, fight and try to gain some important points, and at the end of the day Audi has to win, and car number 1 is in a strong position, but we have to be ready to come back to supply. Anything can happen, you know, you never know, but for sure it was a race incident between the McLaren and our car. That's a shame. It's okay. Thank you.
We've had the change for the lead in Pro-Am, as you were hearing from Stefano Ortelli, so Alex Buncombe has got himself up past Marco Seefried. Alex Buncombe's not in the title fight, but what is interesting is that the 52 Ferrari is well clear of number 90, Stefano Rizzoli, so at the moment things are looking pretty good for Castellacci despite the switch of team.
Indeed, and this up through the S's again, the rain getting more and more heavy in this part of the racetrack. We saw that Marco Seefried in the Ferrari was very, very unstable coming through there, and in the space of half a lap, Verdonk and then Alex Buncombe have managed to find a way through.
The Mercedes battle, 3rd and 4th, heads down towards turn 1, trying to get past Dennis Anderson. And a long way down the order, Wolfgang Reip has just done the best of anybody in Sector 2, but that again is in a Nissan. Back to your front-engine GT car point.
That's just another curiosity. All the way down in 15th place, Andrea Rizzoli has set fastest sector of everybody in Sector 2.
That's right.
Right.
Wolfgang Reip,
okay.
in the Nissan, as I say, going back to your front engine point. The two Mercedes then about to change. I think Nico Verdonk, who goes very well in these cars, he's won in this championship in Ferraris in the past, looks to the inside line of his teammate. They don't want to come to blows here, and Verdonk has got the pace, but Buch has got the line and hangs on to the place.
Yeah, then the long line, the long way around turn 5 was the quicker way around it, and Nico Verdonk had to back out of it and just allow Maximilian Buch to take that bit of ground. But there's not many drivers in the Mercedes-Benz you see challenging Buch. He gets it all wrong. Too hard on the brakes, too deep into the corner, opened up the door. Easy pass for Nico Verdonk, and that was a pass based on pressure from the Belgian driver.
Nico Verdonk spent time last year in a McLaren that didn't really suit him, but he's regrouped this year, come back in the Mercedes, and as I say, he's a bit of an underrated driver, and here having a really good run because he's worked his way up through traffic. He's into 3rd place. Buch is now under pressure from Alex Buncombe as well, but Nico Verdonk then working his way up the order in this car that started 11th on the grid. It now runs 3rd, so he's had to do quite a bit of overtaking on a slippery road, and he's now 11.7 seconds back from the top 2. We've just seen the Santalok Audi rejoining. Also 98 is going to come back into the race. Alexander Prema will take over 98. Edward Sandstrom is going to carry on in 26. But they have now done 4 laps, and the leaders have done 21. So they're out of the hunt. The question is whether anybody else should retire in class, and therefore they can luck into some more points just by finishing now.
Lead car and 2nd place car into the pit lane at the same time.
So they battled on the track. Now it's a battle of the teams to cycle them through as quick as. Are Est and Mies going to stay behind the wheel? You can see the traffic ahead, so they've been getting close to Lapri, and Christopher Mies nearly taps the back of the McLaren as they get to that white line. 50 kilometres now down the pit road. ART is at the top end. WRT is at the bottom end, so one peels off straight away, but then has the long drive down the pit lane after the stop. Other way round for Audi. As soon as the stop's done, bang, it's straight down the pit exit lane into the race.
You have to think the bottom of the pit lane is the best place to be. That's where you gain marginal advantage, because once you come off the jacks and you're virtually over the white line that demarcates the end of the pit lane. So 99, Kevin Estre gets out. And Christopher Mies is getting out, or is Christopher Mies staying in? I'm not quite sure if that is the case. So it'll be Maximilian Buch also was coming in, so he momentarily had the lead, and so was Alex Buncombe, and now pretty much the rest of the field is filing into the pit lane as well.
So at the moment, 84, Nico Verdonk shown as staying behind the wheel, has made a pit stop, and he's gaining ground as others now pour into the pit lane. Cesar Ramos has taken over from Christopher Mies. So there is number 1 that gains the lead back on the pit stops. And what's happening for ART, because 99 is still shown as being in the pit lane.
Well, that's a problem. A bad pit stop for ART, whatever their issues are. All the good work done by Kevin Estra is there is the number 1 McLaren. Or sorry, the number 99 at McLaren. No, yeah, 99.
Slots in behind 52 Ferrari, which is the Marco Seefried car that has pitted, and therefore Johnny Larison is now at the wheel of that car. But why was it such a long stop for the McLaren? Did they change tyres and they didn't change tyres on the Audi, or was it something else? But 31 seconds is a lot to lose, that's for sure. Now, some more news from the pits comes that the ART team did change tyres and Audi did not change tyres at that pit stop. So as I was suggesting, that is in part where you would lose the time. 30 seconds is still quite a lot to lose. Tyres is normally about 22 to 25, so the teams reckon. But even so, that looks to be the explanation as to why 99 McLaren had such a long stop.
There's Alex Buncombe on a run again up the hill out of the S's. Looks to go down the inside. Not near enough, but he can see traffic ahead. That's hopefully going to help him as they come up into the pit curb. Where is Book going to go? He's going to go down. He's lost it. He's lost momentum. Alex Buncombe is going to gain this, and he's going to get a run on the outside of the Mercedes, but he's got the Ferrari there.
Totally blocked in. He can't go any way around it. He has to back out of it, so the Mercedes keeps the place, keeps the advantage. But the Nissan looking so rapid now. Alex Buncombe lines up. Does he have a go at the chicane? No, he just closes right up, applies pressure to the tail of the Mercedes as they work their way out of the NGK chicane. Now, if these two carry on squabbling, that's going to just buy Ramos a bit more time up front. So who is going to strike first against the leading Audi? Is it going to be Max Buch, or will Alex Buncombe have relieved him of that second place? He has a look to the inside. He's going to make the move up the inside line now, and he goes through. Buncombe goes second, and now it's game on between the Cesar Ramos driven Audi, Alex Buncombe's Nissan, and of course he's leading the Pro-Am class.
Is anybody out there? Can anybody see any racing cars? We can't see on that camera shot. I mean, good pass, well worked out by Alex Buncombe. He's been pushing a lot over the last, well, since the pit stops, and finally gets now into that second position, 1.4 seconds behind the lead car. Nico Verdonk, who had actually dropped a little bit behind, and there is the lead car, almost Alex Buncombe overrunning the Audi, and needs to be careful he doesn't open up an opportunity for Max Buch to nip back in again. Cesar Ramos in all sorts of difficulty in this traffic. 3 cars ahead of him, finding which way up the inside. The BMW gives him room. Then he's got the McLaren to deal with, and Alex Buncombe again trying to use the traffic to his advantage, and has done so, and has got the run on Cesar Ramos up into turn 5. Can he get down the inside of the Audi and take the lead? He's got on the inside. Can he maintain it? Yes, he has.
Goes through on the inside then, takes full advantage of the traffic. Alex Buncombe takes over the lead of the race, to the delight there of the team owner, Bob Neville. And so Alex Buncombe now will try to get away, of course, from Cesar Ramos, and therefore Max Buch comes up to attack him. So the Mercedes falls for the moment to third place ahead of Verdonk. Then Kevin Kyrgios trying to regroup as well in the number 99 McLaren, and Andreas Simonsen is 6th, number 19 Mercedes for the moment. And that's 22 that has had a drama. Now the car is one of the Gentleman Trophies cars. It's Julian Westwood at the wheel of it. I'm surprised Julian's had a moment, and that is Ramos having a big wobble going down to turn 1. He survives.
Saw that yesterday. Gilles Vert in the Audi caught the white line. I think we may have seen Cesar Ramos do the same thing, catch the white line with the right front brake. Car snatches, and it just suddenly veers off to the left. And Nico Verdonk says, "I'll take that very much indeed, thank you." And Cesar Ramos, almost in frustration, tries to get back at the Mercedes, but forget it, Cesar. Just stay on the track, finish your stint, hand the car back to the boys.
There's 52 Ferrari. Now this is a significant car because it's falling down the order within Pro-Am standings. Johnny Larison is at the wheel of it, ex-Ferrari Challenge racer, the Am. He's in 18th overall, but the car they're fighting against for Castellacci to win the championship is in 7th overall, so there's a huge amount of ground to be gained back up here. Nico Verdonk wants to try and find a way past him. Verdonk now leading the Pro Cup in the race, and he's through on the inside. 85 then, Steph Dusseldorf at the wheel. He's taken over from Max Buch. What's going on in Audi land? Field's gone in. Oh, and the Mercedes, is that Schneider that's gone off the road?
Yes,
it is. Ben Schneider at turn 1.
Trying a little bit too hard, a little bit deep into turn 1. and getting caught out. And of course he didn't go into turn 1 on a flying lap. He entered turn 1 when he joined the racetrack from the pit lane, so his speed would have been considerably less, and therefore he didn't have that judgment or experience, and therefore all the things I've said about you, Bernd, what are you trying to do, make me look stupid?
Can't be the Bert Schneider, surely, can it? Let's try and work out what he did wrong, John.
Let's have a look. It was just too late and deep. But how did he manage? Well, he's been to the Mercedes-Benz skid school. He's learned how to use all the gizmos, which they don't really run on a race car. They've got traction control, ABS brakes, but certainly hit the car sideways, and well, he'll not make that mistake again.
Well, that was on lap 55. Just what's the date? 21st of September 2014. Schneider makes a mistake. Put it in your diary because it doesn't happen very often. Right, the leader is in. This is what you're looking at. Alex Buncombe. What a great job he has done. Comes into the pit road. 2 hours and 8 minutes, 26.563 seconds he was behind the wheel for. That was the time when he came into the pits. So Alex Buncombe has done a marathon stint.
Looks like Nick McMillan was the driver taking over from Alex Buncombe instead of sticker wet weather tyres. He makes his way out now down the pit lane. Steph Dusseldorf going on his merry way, looking fairly solid, and it's going to be interesting to see how quickly he can. Has he taken the lead? Yes, he has. Dusseldorf, I think, I'm sure that was Dusseldorf came through because Schneider came through behind. Third place to Dusseldorf, Schneider, and now third place for Nick McMillan.
Now, a drive-through penalty has been given to number 90, Stefano Guy. So this is significant within Pro-Am, not only for the race, but also for the championship situation, because if that car tumbles down relative to 52, then it all becomes a different story. So number 90 serving a drive-through as it is getting worse and worse on the pit straight once again. There's the spray as well as the low cloud. Oh, oops, under braking there, almost gets away from Dusseldorf, doesn't it?
Well, he had an almost losing it moment up in the Schumacher S's, and literally it is one lap to the next. Conditions are changing that rapidly, so you've got to be careful. Also, you want to try and make progress, maintain your momentum. Andy Merrick pulls over, and I don't know if he pulled over to let the Mercedes go through, and he's trying to retain that position. He's gotten all racy with the lead car, and that's opening up the opportunity for Bernd Schneider, who's seen all this and sweeps by and has an opportunity to try and take the lead of this race. That was all caused, and he's got down the inside, and he's going to take the lead away from the Dutch driver. So that was a moment where Steph Dusseldorf will be cursing Andy Merrick.
Off again has gone the Santa Lock Audi. Stefan Ortelli, yet again, that car is in strife. This perhaps is the end now. It's a bit like Rasputin, this car. It won't die, will it? But this could be the end.
Didn't give it arsenic, that's for sure.
And there's a BMW that's rotated. Is that the Carimoge car?
It probably is. Certainly it should be an easier car, but much more difficult conditions than Carimoge had to deal with in Spa-Francorchamps. Gets the car going again.
Safety car is being deployed.
I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have done it certainly 3 laps earlier as the safety car picks up. And this is Steph Dusseldorf's car he's picked up. Where is Bernd Schneider?
Safety car's missed him, I think.
Safety car has missed the race leader.
So that's going to give the race director something to sort out.
Well, lucky I'm not in the booth with them. Difficult to miss the race leader when he's got an 8.5 or 9 second advantage over the second place car.
Unfortunately now we're in a bit of a mess because the safety car didn't pick up the leader, and now the leader is in the pits. So some are going to gain on this and some are going to lose.
This is where you go back to the pits and use your pit reporter to explain the situation.
There is Bernd Schneider strapping in Harold Primat, who's yet to do a stint. New tyres going on the Mercedes. And in comes the sister Mercedes, and it's going to be Sergio Afanasiev, you can see running around the car. So in he will get, and they're going to put Harold Primat into 84 by the look of it. More and more come pouring in. So we'll see at the end of the next lap really how the order pans out, but as I say, I think some are going to benefit on this and some are going to lose out.
There we see the safety car. So who's going to let that car? Oh dear me.
85 is going to lose a lap on this because Bernd Schneider's car, Harold Primat at the wheel, has got out ahead of the safety car. That can get to the end of the queue, but the Mercedes, unless they are 85 Mercedes, unless they are released, so that the safety car ends up with the race leader behind, it will potentially go the best part of a lap down.
Well, you wouldn't want to in the race director's office trying to work this out. You could probably spend the next part of this race trying to get people into position.
It'd have been fine had it picked up the leader. That's the big problem.
A bit fundamental, I have to say.
Yeah. So, 2 3/4 hours. Anything could happen in the next 2 3/4 hours. We've had a lot happen so far. Lights out on the safety car. Now, just have a quick look. There's one back marker, which I think is the car that caused the safety car in the first place, ironically, which is the Oliver Grotz's McLaren that's between the two leaders. So, Hubert Haupt, race leader. Back marker, Ben Schneider's car. Now, Harold Primat at the wheel, running in second spot. And number 1 Audi is the next car to look for in third. So here they come, up towards the timing line. Time for a big deep breath as we will go racing once again. The safety car came out on lap 75. At the end of lap 82, we are back in business over the timing line. Hubert Haupt it is who leads the way, 2 seconds ahead of Harold Primat, who is 1.4 seconds ahead of Mies. Afanasiev is 4th, and 5th now it is the McLaren with Andy Soucek at the wheel.
Christopher Mies very keen indeed to get ahead of the Audi, one of the Pro-Am cars, gentleman driver trophy cars, because he needs to use this opportunity to maximise possible. He knows that the lead 2 Mercedes have got effectively a clear racetrack. He's having to battle his way through this traffic that he's now successfully trying to do up the inside. That's close. He's made a big improvement. Christopher Mies really got a good run on Primat. Primat struggles out of turn 4. Now the run down, and Christopher Mies is on it.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy that, wasn't it? Up the inside, very little retaliation from Harold Primat. Mies is charging, so he's got to make up 3.4 seconds before he can attack Haupt, and off goes 52. Into the gravel goes Castellacci, and if he stays in the gravel, that is the end of his chances of winning the Pro-Am Cup in the championship. Can he drive out? No, he's going to dig down, the wheels spin, and that could be the end of the championship dream for Castellacci, and he was tapped into that.
Well, that's a great misfortune for Francesco Castellacci to find himself just buried in the gravel, and he is going nowhere. The car will have to be retrieved by the snatch squads, and well, that's always the danger in these restarts after a long safety car intervention. You've got drivers who have been in the car, others that are in the car for the first time, so that is disappointment for the young Italian driver.
Big disappointment indeed. Tried to drive out of the wet gravel, but to no avail. Like to see who it was that tapped him. Here we go. It was a Bentley.
Was that Stephen Kane by any chance?
Andy Merrick's car. Yes, number 7. It was Bentley 7 that was right behind.
But still Andy Merrick showing in the car. That's might also receive attention from the race director, because the Bentley, I mean, it's flying now. I mean, it's got ahead of the Mercedes as well of Harold Primat. He's coming under a threat on the way up into the chicane. So whatever's going wrong with these 2 Mercedes.
Well, Primat's going backwards, isn't he? But he's been caught by Afanasiev. He's lost out to Mies. We know that Primat isn't as quick as Schneider, for example, nor Verdog, but he's really struggling here. And the other one to watch, you'll see it in a minute coming back into the frame, there is the McLaren of Andy Soucek, because that's 5th, number 99. That's really been given a get-out-of-jail-free card by the safety car.
And Andy Soucek in these conditions was blindingly quick in his first stint.
So 99, which led early on when Aston drove it, is now about to gain a place. Look on the inside of Primat. Up the inside, so up to 3rd has gone Afanasiev. Up into 4th goes Andy Soucek. So his first stint in the car, and it's working well for him as they work their way through the Mercedes arena. But 99 is back in the game.
Absolutely, and that, remember the context, or the answer that Kevin Estre gave us, is that in wet conditions this McLaren is working really well. When the track begins to become a little bit more slick, we seem to struggle, and right now that's what we're seeing from that Audi, and it is Andy Soucek behind the wheel. The Audi McLaren, Andy Soucek behind the wheel. The Mercedes is stretching its legs on the fast parts of this racetrack, and that's really denying Mies any opportunity from maybe being marginally quicker off final turn.
Again, he tries the outside line into turn 2. Now what he wants to do is effectively what Haupt did to him a lap ago. Stand on the outside line all the way round. He's done it, and then the road will come to you on the inside for not this, but the next corner at turn 4. He's levelled with him right the way round the outside. Through he goes. Excellent bit of driving that by Mies. And there's contact because he slowed, and Haupt had the momentum and a little nudge in the back.
I thought we were going to see a replay of what happened 1 lap ago, but this time Hubert Haupt was stalled out because the Audi was that little bit slower on the exit. Mercedes, you could see, was much quicker, but the little bit of contact very light, and there is another Mercedes.
That's Primat.
I can't believe it, in final turn.
That's the car that Ben Schneider was driving, and that is off at the very last corner. So Black Falcon can celebrate because their car is still in contention, but number 84 is off the road as numbers 1 and 19 work their way now up towards the Schumacher S, climbing uphill, and another drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. 82, Marco Asma, Alexei Vasiliev and Karim Al-Azari also being given a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Right, Merrick serves his. Right now, this is the battle for third place. Sergei Afanasiev versus Andy Soucek.
And you have to put your money on Andy Soucek.
Dead right.
Nothing to do with Afanasiev because he is pretty helpful in a Mercedes-Benz, but Andy Soucek is a quality guy in a car which in these wet conditions is going to be very quick. So let's have a look and see. Soucek going to close up this traffic ahead of Afanasiev, and that's going to come into play at the end of this short straight. It is another McLaren, the Butch and Gugnon car, and Andy Soucek will be thinking not here. He'll be thinking about what can I do down at the bottom of the circuit in the Dunlop curve.
And have a look who's behind him, because they come out of turn
Nicky
5.
Katzberg.
Nicky Katzberg is right there indeed, the Pro-Am leader. He's 13 seconds ahead of Richard Abra now. Nick Katzberg is doing another exceptional job, and these are BMW Z4 friendly conditions as Soucek runs up the inside of Afanasiev and leans on him, and the Mercedes stays ahead.
Well, that was a hip and shoulder if you ever saw one, and it didn't come off this time, but up the inside into the Schumacher S's, forces Afanasiev into the wet part of the racetrack, gets the pass. Mercedes stalls out his momentum. Nicky Katzberg fancies a bit of the action. He's going to cut out to the left, dives down the inside, and can he take the position? No, he didn't have quite the squirt to get it done in those last couple of hundred meters.
So Katzberg now tries to find a way past the Mercedes, and Soucek, 14.8 seconds behind the race leaders, as we said a few laps ago, is back in the game. What else can he drag out of this before the very end, which is still 2.5 hours away? There's 85 then, Afanasiev running in third spot. Katzberg is about to make a move now, down towards turn 5 to try to go through on the inside against Sergei Afanasiev, and he's going to do it. Is he on the inside? He's level, he's through, and so the Pro-Am leader goes 4th overall.
Yeah, I mean, it was going to happen. It was just a question of working out the part of the racetrack where you can't do it at the end of a straight because the Mercedes has got too much straight line, but if you've got good drive off one of those slower corners, coming out of 3-4, for example, that's the opportunity. Nicky Katzberg, he created that for himself. It wasn't anything more than just good thinking behind the wheel and using the car's strengths to give you the advantage.
Katzberg and Hassid were victorious at Paul Ricard earlier on in the season, but we've never, of course, had a Pro-Am car win outright, but I'm not saying it's going to happen today either, but it's great to see that going so strongly, the Pro-Am leader up into now 4th place, and that's not great news either. Harold Primat, okay, he's out of the gravel, but then briefly stalled in the middle of the road. He thankfully gets going again.
I mean, you don't leave a car in the middle of the road. Surely you must get it into a position where it would not be impeding anybody else who might be coming around, in spite of a yellow flag being in position at that corner. You wouldn't expect, having seen the car on the gravel, to find it 90 degrees to the flow of traffic.
He's 2 laps down, Harold Primat, so he's back in the race, but that incident, whether it was self-induced or with an assist, has cost him 2 laps, and therefore it's cost him a chance of victory. So Andy Soucek then hanging on to 3rd place. Katzberg tries to go around the outside, looking ahead, although Katzberg looks like he's going to gain the position here any moment. That car will go backwards if they put Henry Hassid back in it because he's not quite as quick. Equally, the number 19 2nd place Mercedes will lose time when Al Faisal drives it. So really, for the race, you're looking at the number 1 Audi versus the 99 McLaren.
Possibility. Strong driver lineup in the McLaren car, maybe not as totally consistent as some of the others around it, maybe more affected by track conditions, but certainly got 3 very strong drivers. And Nicky Katzberg, he accepts that Henri Hassid may not be able to match his pace as he looks to go down the long way, in this case the short way, and he's got ahead. Now I think that was Soucek backed out of it, frankly. I think he decided, I'm not in a race in terms of championship with this car, and let it go. Overall, 1st, 2nd and 3rd on the podium. It's more important that I bring this car home in our class, in the Pro Cup class, than it is in overall in terms of what we're doing with the BMW. And look how quickly Nicky Katzberg has pulled away from the McLaren, and I think that was just a bit of sensible driving from Andy Soucek.
I wonder if this also is part of what Jack was telling us earlier on, that the Mercedes, when it's greasy, not fully wet, starts to lose its edge, and if it's
that was McLaren
a bit. So what did I say?
You said Mercedes.
I meant McLaren. Thank you. It's starting to lose its edge.
I think that's the case,
isn't it?
Again, Soucek just getting the car in, but not able to go low. He's got to stay higher in the middle of the corner than the Mercedes is able to do. He's looking for the wetter part of the racetrack to try and give him that little bit of additional grip that he doesn't find low down.
So as the two of them run nose to tail out of the S's, Afanasieff gets the power down, but he finds a McLaren in the way, goes to the inside, lines up for the inside, and Afanasieff goes through up into now 4th place.
And I thought Souček might have been looking for the cut back, because he's certainly hanging up high, and then Afanasieff goes wide. His line into the corner was slightly compromised, but he's got, I think, sufficient to enable the Mercedes to stay ahead of the McLaren. And Andy Souček deciding, I can't do an awful lot about it, and once that pass got made, even though I maybe had slight advantage in the middle of those 2 turns, that was it.
Into the pits comes Andy Souček as we get to the hour and 15 to go mark.
Now, is he or isn't he? Is he? What have they got to lose? Well, he's in 5th place when he came into the pit lane. If they put a set of slicks on and they began to find that lap time worked more favourably towards the slick tire, they would have the advantage for about 4 or 5 laps until everybody else woke up and smelt the coffee and did the same thing. And that time benefit, of course, you've got to offset it with potentially another pit stop before the end. I don't know whether they could run an hour and 14 minutes without a stop. It would be very difficult to do, I think.
They are on slicks, just looking out across the pit lane. They can see it on the screen as well. It's slick tyres for number 99. So they are still on the lead lap. They're going to roll the dice and see whether it's going to work. So now we need to monitor lap times.
It's going to be 2:09 is the fastest lap. You think Castellacci again setting fastest second sector times.
We're into the 8th. Greg Gilver has done a 2:08.9.
Yeah,
and he's
going to be exciting.
36th place.
I mean, it's Andy Souček is probably as good a man as you can hope in a McLaren. Brave decision, but brave. You know, doing something like this only can be to your benefit. Look how difficult the car accelerating out of the pit lane where it still is wet. The car will feel really spooky on these slick tires. It'll take a lap or more, maybe, just to get the sense of feel into the car, and you can just see under acceleration. Those tires are not coming out of a tire blanket. They're at ambient temperature. It'll take 3 laps maybe before you get anything resembling the required temperature for the tire. Stays really tight into 3. So the tires can be heated, but they don't have the kind of blankets that we're familiar with. Oh, he's lost control of the exit of turn 4, and he's spun it around 720, and he's going to kiss the barrier. Oh, Andy, you let me down.
That's your answer. It's not right for slicks just yet. They had a go.
No, it is right for slicks. You just got to be a bit more careful. I bet you on another car, you might have gotten away with that.
We'll wait and see if anybody else now takes the gamble, but everybody will be scared off it for a bit, having seen what can happen to you. So Andy Souček is off the road on his outlap as well.
Oh, suddenly Steph Dusseldorf runs to get into the Mercedes-Benz. Sergei Afanasieff has jumped out of it. I'm not sure Steph Dusseldorf was quite prepared already, or whether that was a late call for a driver change. So the second place Mercedes has got the tall Dutchman back behind the wheel.
So here comes champion-elect Laurens Vanthoor. Set of slicks and a tank of fuel, please.
I'm just looking around the circuit, more and more cloud break-up. So anybody who's on a set of wet weather tyres needs to determine to get into the pits as quickly as possible. Kevin Estro's last lap, 2:04.
Best lap of the race. So that's the benchmark now for the slick-shod cars. It's just a shame, isn't it, that Est has lost a couple of laps against the race leader, because he can't really fight for the overall honours. He might claim a position or 2 back, but it's not a threat for race honours anymore as Laurens Vanthoor fires it up. Off he goes.
And just be careful, because you come onto the track and you'll discover that parts of the track are still quite slippery. You've just got to get those dry weather slick tyres, bring them in carefully, slightly cautious on the entry into turn 1. Stay on the dry bit of racetrack. Don't let yourself drift onto the damper pits. That's what caught out Kevin Estre when he went out.
Faisal has pitted, so he has given up the race lead. It goes back to Laurens Vanthoor then, with Steph Dusseldorf perhaps to inherit second place. We'll see which of Mercedes comes into turn 1 first, whether it's this one after its pit stop, or Steph Dusseldorf, who's already made his next stop. Kevin Estre goes over the timing line at 2 minutes 1.129. Vanthoor at 2 minutes 4.419. Not yet to the same stage of the cycle in those tyres. There he is at turn 1, as the race currently works lap 135. So back into the lead goes number 1, Laurens Vanthoor, gets ahead of the Mercedes number 19 that's in the pits.
Stef Dusseldorp in the Mercedes in second place now, fastest overall Sector 1. So the fresher tyre, it seems to take about 4 to 5 laps really to get the temperature stability to give you that additional grip, and Dusseldorp has proved that by going fastest overall in Sector 1, and Kevin Estre on that lap has 56.4 against 56.2.
Those team managers I was mentioning going to race control, all of their cars have got drive-through penalties for improving under yellow flags. Ikuria Kos is one of them. Also Castellacci is another. Number 3, the Nash Stippler car, is a further one. And number 11, the Frezza Bonaccini Brosniewski Ferrari, is another one that gets this penalty. So drive-throughs for those that have been improving under a yellow flag, which must have been, I think, when Kevin Estre went off the road. Right, there's number 19 Mercedes back on track.
Into the final turn, and Dusseldorp needs to be a little bit more patient, not try and force the issue, because he's got the momentum, he's just got to choose the spot. And Faisal is not going to make it that easy. This is a battle for the second position on the podium.
So Faisal defends, Dusseldorp goes to the outside. Can he duck up the inside coming out of turn 1? Limited amount of dry line there, but it is widening, so he has a look to the inside at turn 2. But Abdulaziz Al Faisal in the green and black Falcon Mercedes hangs on to second place. Up the inside goes Dusseldorp. Is the job done? It is. Al Faisal can't stand his ground on the outside and attack at turn 4, so we've had the change. 85 goes up into second spot.
Yeah.
The checkered flag is being made ready, and for Cesar Ramos, Christopher Mies, but importantly Laurens Vanthoor, it's going to be a race win. It's important for Vanthoor because it's going to be a championship win as well, as he makes his way then now up towards the NGK chicane for the last time, then the run through the Coca-Cola curve, and then up towards the timing line he will come. And Laurens Vanthoor then accelerates now up towards the timing line, and the new Blancpain Endurance Series Pro Cup champion Laurens Vanthoor wins the final round of the Blancpain Endurance Series, the iRacing.com Nurburgring 1000. It's a win for Christopher Mies, Laurens Vanthoor and Cesar Ramos. And Laurens Vanthoor, the champion, the race winner, is absolutely delighted. Here's the car that's going to finish in second place. Stef Dusseldorp will bring it home with assistance from Sergei Afanasiev and, of course, Max Buch, who did the first stint. Over the timing line it comes, and honours go the way for second place of the Mercedes. And already home fourth, Henri Hassid and Nick Katzberg to win Pro-Am in the race. Kevin Estre has brought the McLaren home fifth in the race as well. So Stefano Guy being told about the podium procedure, because he's the champion. And a very happy champion he is too. And we can hopefully grab a word with Laurens, because down there in Parc Fermé to talk to him is John Watson.
Laurens Vanthoor, can you sum up your emotions? Special day for you.
Not yet. It's the same like last year in Baku. Takes a bit of time for the emotions to come up, but it's just perfect. Last year winning the Sprint Series, this year winning the Endurance Series in Spa is couldn't dream better.
Sammy, you went out on slicks. The track was not anywhere near dry. How difficult was that?
It was the most difficult stint of my life, just because it takes so long. You know, you want it to be over after 2 laps already because you're scared to make a mistake, and you just have to bring it home safely. But in the end, everything worked out. But I'm pretty tired, and it's just from the stress. So I'm happy we've done it, and it's over.
Well, in a way, you had the easy stint in the afternoon because fundamentally it was mostly dry. Christopher Mies and Cesar Ramos had the wet stints. They were appalling.
Yeah, they did a great job. I couldn't have won the championship without them. It's really thanks to Chris and to Cesar, and also to Marcus, Winkelhock, René Rast, and Mark Basseng, and many drivers who helped me with it, and of course especially WRT. So it's a teamwork. It's not only me.
Let's confirm the results. We did 158 laps in the end, and it was the win for number 1 Audi. You've heard from the drivers, Laurens Vanthoor, the new champion, Christopher Mies and Cesar Ramos, ahead of Stef Dusseldorp, Sergei Afanasiev and Max Buch's Mercedes, and then Hubert Haupt, Abdulaziz Al Faisal and Andreas Simonson's Mercedes. Fourth, and the Pro-Am winners, you've heard from them, Henri Hassid and Nick Katzberg, ahead of Andy Soucek, Kevin Koulios and Kevin Estre, clear of Devon Modell, good outing for him, from Anders Fordbach and Vladimir Lunkin. They were second in Pro-Am ahead of Thomas Kemenata, with the new Pro-Am champions, Stefano Guy and Andrea Rizzoli. The Gentleman Trophy winners, Ian Logie and Julian Westwood at the Nurburgring. This is how the point situation looks post-race. Geddes and Mann victorious, Matchell and Schmickler coming home next, with Ian Logie and Julian Westwood behind them. Nick Katzberg and Henri Acid victorious in Pro-Am here at the Nurburgring in the final round of the Blancpain Endurance Series. So the champions, Stefano Guy and Andrea Rizzoli. Francesco Castellacci comes home third behind them. And then the Ecuria Cost drivers, Oliver Bryant, Alistair McCaig and Andrew Smith, ahead of Nick Katzberg and Henri Acid by just 1 point. The winners of the Nurburgring 1000, Cesar Ramos, Christopher Mies and Laurens Vanthoor. Trophies in the air, 3 delighted race winners, 1 delighted champion, and a very happy team at the foot of the podium. As much a part of the celebrations as the drivers up there, because it is a true team effort in this championship. And now the champagne is about to be sprayed here. Cesar Ramos celebrating the first victory for Audi in this championship, having been a Ferrari winner last year. Christopher Mies sets about Laurens Vanthoor, who struggles with a bottle, but he's there now and can celebrate his race and championship success. Let's just confirm how the championship looks in the end. Laurens Vanthoor, in terms of the points margin, a dominant winner, but Stephen Kane, Andy Merrick and Guy Smith up to second, despite the fact they were 8th in the race. It was a good enough result to get the runners-up spot ahead of the troubled Greg Gilbert, Stefan Ortelli and Edward Sandstrom. Laurens Vanthoor, the Pro Cup champion. Andrea Rizzoli, completely hidden, as the Pro-Am joint champion with Stefano Guy and Peter Mann and Francisco Geddes for AF Corsa. Gentleman Trophy winners. Once again, the Blancpain Endurance Series has given some great racing. From David Addison, for John Watson and Jack Nichols, we'll see you next year for more drama in 2015. Bye-bye.